folks, and welcome to their Sunday morning Samoflange. I'm Matt.
It's Saturday, and I'm Benjamin.
Yeah!
And I'm about to be surprised by something and someone.
I told you we were going to do one, and we're going to do it next week. But
what are you talking about?
We're going to do the topic I brought you in here for.
Oh,
but we're going to do that one next week, because there is something else. Because we usually said, well, wait, I need some help on this list. And I was like, wait, don't worry about doing the list, because I got something else.
Why?
Okay, so now, by the way, folks, we've been talking about time stories for a while.
We have.
And in the box from Madame, usually they have an ad for the next game.
Yeah.
This time they didn't, but they had an ad for something. I chunked it. I was putting the deck together and looked at it again. I was like, what is this? There's a book.
What are you talking about?
So, folks, welcome to Time Stories, the Heiden File.
Time Stories, the Heiden File. Which is what?
It's a story of time stories. It's a book that they came out with after this one.
Right.
It takes place before, in between, and after Brotherhood of the Coast. Now, over vacation, I read it. But
what?
I promised myself that if it got to spoilers from Madame, I was going to stop. It never did, because it focuses on another team. And I cannot find a single review.
Team of agents?
Another team of agents.
Okay.
And our adventures are mentioned, but it's around Brotherhood of the Coast.
Okay.
Okay. And we are quite famous too, I should say.
Well,
for our several successful missions over the years.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, because I have not seen a review on this,
okay,
I can't find one. I mean, there's a few.
On
There's
the
like
book.
1 or 2 Amazon reviews that are 2 sentences, 3 sentences long or something. There's not that many reviews on this book. So it kind of went under the radar, I guess, or fans were just done with it by then.
But it was released before Madame?
No, it was released after Madame.
Okay.
But takes place before then.
Takes place before.
And I was going to say there's no reason you need to, I mean, you can read it now, but after we finished Madame, I realized, because looking back over my notes, maybe you should play Madame first.
Before,
because then it explains something else that's in Madame. I didn't realize it was from Madame.
Okay.
Until the very end.
Oh, okay.
Now, unlike our other podcasts, folks, this is going to be spoilers
of
the book.
Well, it's I don't even know what to expect here.
Now,
this is a
I'm
surprise to me.
I'm going to tell you, it will spoil the game.
Yeah.
So if you're playing the game, bye-bye.
Okay.
If you played the game...
So this is our first spoiler review.
This is our first spoiler of the book, which does spoil
the overall meta story.
Yeah, there you go. It spoils the meta story, not the individual games, but the meta story.
Yeah, so
and it does explain.
In either case, probably turn this off.
It does. Yeah, so turn it off.
Skip this podcast. You're not going to really miss much, probably.
But I will say this: should you get it? I don't really know. If you're into the meta story, you're not going to find a buttload here. Remember, you're not going to find out what happened after Madame at all. That's not that adventure hadn't even happened yet. Is there anything revealed? Two things from the meta story, or 3 maybe, are revealed, and that's it. Not much else. Remember, this is based on other people, and then how to play the game and mistakes you should avoid is revealed. But
what do you mean by that?
I'll talk about it in a minute.
All right.
But I'm just giving this for the non-spoiler people. So should you get it? Maybe. If you're into the meta story big time, get the ebook. I read this once. I might not read it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't apply to us, but they do explain a few things in the meta story.
Okay.
All right.
Final spoiler warning.
This is it. The Heiden File, folks.
All right.
Does the name Tess Heiden...
doesn't mean anything to me. Is that the girl from the zombie?
What was in Bob's drawer?
A ring and
a badge.
Yeah, a badge.
And we didn't know who that was, and we looked through all of our character cards.
We were like,
we couldn't figure out who Tess Heiden was.
I said, is that your name? Is that your character's name?
Yeah, and we looked through the characters.
Right.
Tess Heiden is an agent of our story, so that's who Tess Heiden is in his drawer.
Okay.
And they have a mutual respect, but. She's a young girl, I think 18 or 17 or whatnot, and she's growing up in the year 2010, 2012. This is back when the game started.
Right.
Whenever the game came out, maybe 2012. And so, I have here 15. Maybe she's 15.
Okay.
All right, and then she is living the life. So she is an orphan. Her mom was crazy. She never knew her dad. Her mom was crazy. Went from boyfriend to boyfriend. Each boyfriend was crazy. One a gun nut, a religious nut, a government conspiracy nut. All of them didn't trust the government or had conspiracies. Her mom was crazy, had conspiracies too. They locked her up. She was kind of in a halfway house insane asylum too, in a way. The daughter is, but orphanage, okay? And so she meets someone who says, "Hey, want to borrow you for the day and run some tests." She's like, okay. She takes a stupid questionnaire. She goes here. She goes to an abandoned factory where they ask her all these stupid questions. She does a few skill tests, and then she goes home. She's like, that was weird. He said, well, do you want to do it again? Not really, but I don't want to be in this orphanage, so yeah, take me in tomorrow.
Sure.
So she keeps going. Well, they give her riddles to figure out. They give her puzzles to figure out. They give her, agility test and strength test. They strengthen condition her stuff. She's like, okay, I must be practicing for something. Is this a secret agency? He's like, yeah, something like that.
Is this a secret agency? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. He said, so it's 2012, and so he said, okay, your first mission. Here it is. You're going to pretend to be my daughter, and you're from Switzerland, okay? But the only reason you're my daughter is because the people that I'm meeting the governor and his son. The son's a little bit older than you, but, he's about your age, and I need someone for the son to talk to, so he won't be bored, so he can have a good time, so the family can have a good time at my house. I'm having a big party.
All right.
But I want you to act like my, niece who's coming in from Switzerland and visiting. Study up on your Switzerland, play this role. If you do it right, you're on the team. She's like, okay, great. So she goes.
You're on the team and out of the orphanage.
Yeah, so that's what she wants. She wants out of the orphanage.
Sure.
She's on her best behavior.
Like Voldemort.
She's in a beautiful dress, but she doesn't like dresses, yada, yada, tomboy,
Gotcha.
Big tough girl. But she's has her Swiss accent, and then someone has been to Switzerland, and they're saying, "Oh, what city around the lake?"
Oh no!
And so now she has to guess and hope that was it, and she got it right. And everyone loves how she is. They think she's adorable. She kind of bonds with the son. The son's like, "Hey, what's up?" She's like, "What's up?" They kind of flirt a little bit. Well, then she goes to the restroom. Well, there he is snorting some coke.
Who is?
The governor's son.
Oh, okay.
He's like, "Hey, you want some of this?" She's like, "No, it's okay. You can go ahead." And they start talking. He's like, well, hey, you want some of these nuts, So she's like, no. But then, of course, he's going after because he's the governor's son. He gets whatever he wants. He's a little jerk. So she busts the nose.
Yeah.
And goes, you know what, though? How many women has he done this to? Probably several. He's the governor's son, so he gets off. I'm going to kick his ass. And so she does.
Okay.
Bad decision.
Uh-oh.
Right? And so the party ends. The son has to go to the hospital. The governor is not going to sue because obviously he kind of can figure out what happened.
Right.
But he is kind of pissed that the girl just kind of beat up his son. Punctured lung and broken ribs, stuff like that.
Really
and
beat
so
the trash
the other
out of
guy's really
him.
pissed. He went, well, what'd you do? He said, well, I broke his nose. Then I went for, he said, yeah, you should have stopped right there. Because he would have run off, and he just had a broken nose and hurt pride. He went, you go too far, you're uncontrollable, yada, 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 you're out, you're done, we're done, you failed. And she's like, so she's upset, no one will talk to her now. Everyone, she has her clothes, her remaining bag, she's going back home in the little limo to live in the orphanage forever. She's pissed as everything. She says, I'm not going back. So she chokes the driver with the seatbelt just to get him to stop.
Wow.
Just to kind of escape. He accidentally runs off the bridge. They crash into the water. She's trying to break through the car. She can't. She's like, oh no, I'm going to die now.
Right.
But then it's okay because divers are there and they pull her out.
Okay.
And then you have the guy doing the little clap.
Interesting.
It's Willy Wonka.
Yeah,
style.
setup,
You
sure.
drank fizzy drink. You're out. But you gave back the God Stopper.
You gave
he's
back
like,
the God
he's like,
Stopper.
He said, you didn't accept failure. You kept pushing on. Whatever she would have done, they were going to tell her that night she was going to fail. They wanted to see if she would give up after a failed run. She did not.
Okay.
So, you're hired. She said, okay. He said, when we cross through this door, he said, this is your last decision. You can choose to get out. If you do not choose, if you choose to go through with this, there is no turning back. There is no turning back. That's all I can tell you. You will join our agency, but there's no way you can go back. She went, no, I'm in it. He goes, All right.
Red pill or the blue pill?
It's just like that. And so she takes something, the nozzle goes on, she falls asleep, and suddenly she wakes up, and Bob is standing there, and he goes, "Don't throw up. You look like you're going to throw up." And she throws up.
Of course she throws up.
So
Bob's naturally pissed.
Now, yeah, Bob's pissed. Now she's in the future.
Oh, he's not upset. He's just disappointed.
He's just disappointed. That's right. So Bob is there, and Bob says, "Are you going to throw up again?" No. She throws up again, So, Bob's like, "Okay, where am I? Future. How'd I get here? Trade secret." So they recruit people from the past.
Interesting.
To work for them as agents.
In the far distant future.
To work for them, you have to be, this is sad, a blip in the history. No children.
Oh, goodness.
Unimportant.
Oh, so you don't disrupt the timeline.
You don't disrupt the timeline. And if you disappear, like, remember, Dad never knew, Mom, asylum.
I see.
No life.
No historical relevance.
No historical relevance. And they cherry pick those people. And those are the people they have. Now, but those are people with no significant lives.
Interesting.
And that's how you get chosen. Yeah, it is interesting. But you're thinking, well, how do they get these agents? They pick them from the past.
So this girl would have died when she was 15, or she did die.
She would have died, and it would have led an uneventful life, is what they calculated. So she had no physical impact to the overall storyline.
As far as I could tell.
As far as it gets out. So that was interesting. So then he explains to her what's going on, what they're going to do. And by the way, if you reject it, you become a Cassian.
What? So the people who
reject back there, you become a Cassian. So yes, and remember, we weren't inhabiting the brightest bulbs.
No, we never.
We weren't inhabiting the higher ups of culture, were we?
No. Well, a few times.
Now, it doesn't say all of them, but some of them are failed agents.
Yeah.
Used it as practice. So, but she said, "No, I'm going to go ahead. Now that I know I'm here, let's do this. Let's go for it."
Wow.
So, she starts going and they're talking about this. We travel back in time. We go back and fix time. But okay, well, why do you only do it in, why don't you give us like all the time we need? He went, well, we figure out you'll be more focused if you have less time. People think under pressure, and we want to get this done because to send you back in time we can't do it. It's hard to do it for extended periods of time. And they're trying to explain the board game now, right?
Sure.
So the board game has, if you notice this, it has 60 time on the board. We never had 60 time. I mean, ever. We had 45.
There always has to be a limit in any time story, with air quotes around it. Like Back to the Future was plutonium. You've only got plutonium, and it's a finite thing.
Exactly.
You can't get it in any corner drugstore. Doc says you can't get it. You can probably get it at any corner drugstore in the future, but not here in 1955.
Yeah,
you still can't get it anywhere.
That's true.
But Star Trek, you've got to have. There's some kind of limit, so that makes sense. I love it.
They have a limit, and that explains the limited time.
Right.
Plus, you focus better and you do better. So that's Bob. Now, as they're practicing, she's with a team. One is an alien from another time or whatever. But one's a guy from the, 15th century, whatever. He was an Englishman.
An alien, altogether different planets and everything.
He's just an alien from another planet.
Wow.
He doesn't even speak, I think he does speak English. But anyway, and then another girl from the Russia era back in the old days. I don't know.
The USSR.
Something like that. But they're all from different walks of life. And so they form a team, and they're trying to do practice runs. And this is not through time. They're just doing their own. They have a demo place where they just give you practice runs to test you out. Well, then it talks about all the mistakes that you make in the game. What did they do? They stayed together, and they ran out of time.
Oh.
If you stay together, you cannot spread out and search. There is no time to just sit there. And you would beat any challenge if you stayed together. You'd be able to solve everything.
We would, right.
Everyone would be on the same ground to have a thorough understanding, but the game doesn't give you time to do that.
Right.
If you do that process, they know. They say, we're not going to give you enough time. You're going to lose if you do that.
Say the magic word.
So you have to spread out. But he also says when you spread out, though, because then they spread out, he said, be smart about it. Look and see. Who's that? He looks like he wants a fight. Get your brute. Who's that? That looks like something for agility. There's a lot to pick.
Yeah.
And that's what we were doing.
It is.
But so he's kind of teaching them things like that, or split up in pairs if you think like this could be this or that. So if you have a weak spot, this can complement this person. But he said, don't all stay together. That's a surefire way to just eat time away. He is, because you're never going to get anything accomplished. There's another one where he talks about they're in a room that's flooding, and they have one goal, and as they're doing it, they're trying to find a way to get out. They find a ring of keys, but which key is it? Well, I saw something about a list of keys. We'll go there, and then someone's going here, and someone's going
fun.
And the thing is, though, they ran out of time. What happened? They were chasing red herrings. You just need to achieve your goal. Stay focused.
Stay on task.
Stay focused. How many times in Brotherhood of the Coast you have red herrings? In fact, if you notice the storyline to Madame,
holy smokes.
everyone had a story.
Oh, yeah.
But most of them didn't matter.
Right.
We're thinking,
this is what it is.
Something with
this
the poison.
Is how we're gonna get the things.
It's got to be something with the poison.
Right.
It's got to be something with...
Did we ever find out what the poison did?
No, it's all red herrings.
Oh, for crying out loud.
It's all red herrings. And I love that, because he said, there'll be a lot of other things you think are clues. You think it, but
stick with
focus
it
on the objective.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. Now, to be honest, he's probably watched a lot of people play his games over the years, and probably wrote down to the author.
Did Manuel write this book?
No. Some other guy did.
Okay.
But he probably sent the notes to him and said, Manuel says, here's the main number one mistakes I see players make.
Right.
Because I was laughing.
This is
I was like,
what we get on
this
our
is really
feedback.
funny. And then one of them, Bob said, because one time they get busted and they decide just to bust their way through. They fight. Now remember, Bob's made fun of us like, well, you got the job accomplished. A little less bloody would have been fine. But it says you don't always have to, and this is true, you don't have to go up to the biggest guy in the room and bust him up. That takes up time.
Right.
Just move through. You don't have to fight everyone.
Mm-hmm.
There's some endings where we thought we had to fight everyone, but that eats up our time.
Right.
Just go with whoever you think can get and see if you can survive long enough, which I never thought like that. But yeah, you don't have to bust up everyone in the room because it's eating up your time. Because a lot of times you're not going to defeat these people in one turn.
One round or whatever. So
I was like, this is neat. This is why I think you should save it to the end, because it's basically tips on how to play the game. Now, okay, so they talk about choosing receptacles. Tess chooses one that she thinks is great. The alien chooses another one. He likes this. This guy looks smart. Okay, but the smart guy doesn't have any strength. And the girl that she picked that looked nice and fit and everything, she has a bleeding migraine.
Now,
Tess is a smart woman. She is the woman who figures out the puzzles for them. However, due to the cash-in, she has this big migraine, and she can't think. She can't solve this easy problem. What's going on? So you may be the smart guy to figure it out, but the agility or whatnot on your character does not have that.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting? I saw what they were doing. And like the aliens used to running real fast. Well, this guy's big. He's smart, but he's a little too big, so he's a little husky, so he can't run as fast. He's out of gas longer.
That's fun.
So he doesn't have the strength he usually has.
Yeah, that's fun.
And I was like, how interesting.
That's a great way to think about it.
Because that's
cool.
So they kind of take, the book kind of is explaining the theme of the board game, which is very interesting. And by the way, why can't we pick, if our job was to knock off Hitler, they're going to give us like a maid, a delivery boy,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why not just be Hitler's right-hand man? Why don't we just can't inhabit him, take the sidearm, and shoot Hitler? Be one of his guards, and it's game over, right? We did it. Because, Bob says, certain people are strong-minded, and they can take you over. Think about this. We played with a cocaine addict who had to have cocaine or her performance went down. We had we had insanity that made us do different things that we would not do.
Right.
There were limitations to some of our characters that limited us. Remember, some had weaknesses that we could not do this. We could not do that. You're a dog. You can't speak to us. But the thing is, though, how thematic we thought. But
of course,
that's what they're saying here. That's why you can't inhabit, because one time they inhabit a Nazi, and she starts disliking Bob, and she's kind of got some admiration for Hitler. She's like, wait, what am I thinking here? Because that guy was a little too strong. Bob goes, we're not going to use him again. He's a little too strong.
Yeah.
But it was weird because they start controlling. You start thinking like them. So he said, we're going to tone it down because we don't usually we use empty controllable cash-ins for the most part, but of course the cocaine addiction or that we always needed this or
Problems.
The character had this issue. we had to deal with those people.
Yep.
Because we were in. It kind of formatted who we were. Now, this is why Rafalski or whatever, this is why he has holes in his head, because he's inhabited too many people and sometimes stronger people.
Yeah, he was talking about how he was getting migraines and physically having problems because he had been doing it too much.
And he was getting confused on who he was. And that's what Bob said.
Right.
Remember, Bob told him in the Time Chronicles, you're losing your identity.
Right.
You know,
I remember that. They had the little conversation because they had been in the agency, like started together or something like that. And
he'll explain about that. Now, they celebrate their first. They're good to go on their first mission, and so they're so happy. Or maybe at this point they've finished their first mission. Anyway, they're going to the bar to go drink. There are special drinks called the Asylum, the Expedition Endurance, and the what's the other drink? I can't remember. Prophecy of Dragons, or whatever. There are drinks named, and they said, "What is it? Well, these are weird names for drinks." They said they're after some of our best team out there. They've made some big wins for us in the past. So I started laughing.
Yeah,
that
subtle
is
nod to us.
That's
cool.
And the bartender looks at Tess and goes, "Ha, you look just like your mother," and walks away. And she goes, "Wait, what?
Oh, shoot.
How's this guy in the future? What?"
Right.
And so she turns around. She turns around away from him and goes, "That was weird." Gives the drinks out. Then walks back up to the bartender who's not there anymore. She goes, and she wants to mention it to her friends, but she's like, "Okay, that was weird."
Right.
He probably just was trying to, is a pickup line, Well, then she goes on a mission, and as she's on a mission, time stops. Everyone stops in the room. She's like, what is going on? A time bubble. She's in a time bubble where the guy behind the bar appears to her and says, "Hey, look, no one can hear us. No one can see us. The time agency can't see us right now. Frozen time." He said, "I just want you to know this." He said, "You need to check out the 1994, the Marcy case." And then he fades away, and the time goes back to normal. She's like, what the heck is going on? So she tells her friends, I met this guy, and he wants me to check this file, but I can't get into the files on my own. They said, we'll help you. F it, we're a team now. We'll help you. At first they fought a lot, but now they've bonded over training, and so now they're a team.
Of course.
So they decide to all run distractions while she accesses the file. So she accesses our adventure in the Marcy case. This is something including in the meta story. And as the helicopter comes, it's the last scene. She's like, "What is going on? Oh my gosh, zombies
on the roof!" Right?
Yeah, zombies. She's like, when were there zombies? She's like, what is going on? And she knows this is the 90s and everything. What is this? And then we're delivering a girl to the helicopter, and the guy gets out of the helicopter to hold up the person,
the DNA
scanner, and she goes, "Hey, it's the bartender."
What? Oh no!
So Rafalski, she recognizes it. So it's Rafalski that's talking to her, just like he comes to us.
Just like he came to us.
You're a time traveler
in different places.
In different places under different guises.
Yep.
And she's like, huh. And then he's like, but what's he doing? And he grabs the girl, and as they're flying off, she goes, "Mom?"
No.
And that's how and so anyway, it opens up to where she gets busted. She wakes up out of the file and then sees that she's surrounded by security. They're pissed. They got guns blazing. They're yelling. And Bob and Laura, the hologram, are saying, guys, this was a training op. Why is Bob covering for her? Why are Bob and Laura lying for her?
Interesting.
Because she never told them. They said, guys, it's a training op. It's like, You should have told us. God damn it, Bob. Blah. You already got in trouble once. I'll take this to the High Council. He said, I will take full responsibility. He said, I couldn't tell you. So you have to tell me when stuff like this happens. This is a security breach. He's like, all right. He said, look, if I'd have told you, you'd have known exactly when to come and what time. He said, I need to be as real as possible. He said, these people still need a little bit more practice. You know how it is. And he's just mad. He's never do this again. He's like, all right, we won't. And then as they leave, Bob stays calm, turns around, he's like,
you owe me.
He said, because the other three are captured too. He's like, all of you, debriefing room now. Regular Bob. And so he sits down with her, and she's like, what did I saw this.
What did I just see?
What is my mom doing? What did y'all do to my mom? And now she's like, oh my gosh, this is why she was this is why she believed in all these crazy theories, because she saw zombies. And so, and she's been experimented by the government.
Been around the time agency, right?
And she thinks, what did you guys do? What did you say? That wasn't us. And he went, yeah, I saw this guy that she didn't know his name, but by the bar, and he goes, oh, he said, and Bob goes, well, it's not every day you get to see how your parents first met.
Oh my gosh!
So Ravowski and Marcy eventually marry or whatever, and they have a child.
Wow.
And it's Tess.
Wow.
So then we get some history now. Bob was the first person ever to time travel. He was the first person. That's why he's kind of a high leader up. He was the first person on his team we know was Ravowski. And Laura, who's a hologram now. She was a real person. Somehow she died, and they don't know how. Those records she never saw, and we're never told. So it was Laura, Ravowski, and Bob were the first time team. At least 3 of the 4 members of that team. One of their first missions was to go to Atlantis. Before it flooded or whatever, it was destroyed.
Clearly.
And they had to fight off a creature that they eventually moved up to the Arctic.
Oh my
Expedition
gosh.
Endurance, which is what we had to deal with later on.
Is.
The same creature had gotten loose.
The Cthulhu thing?
Out from under the ice. They thought they'd buried it in the ice, but it had broken loose.
Man.
And Bob said, you got to clean. No, he didn't say my mess, but it was their mess. So that was really interesting. Like I said, a little meta story in there that they touch it. Well, so he goes, I'm telling you this because now that you know this, you're going on a mission to Atlantis at a different time. A wave is going to destroy this city. We went well before this happened, but there's this giant wave. Now, there's a shield protecting Atlantis from this wave. He said, but there's this priest that's going to screw it up. He's going to do something. He's thinking he's getting more power, but what he's going to do is blow up the shield and then destroy Atlantis. You need to stop him by all means necessary. Like, okay, that's your mission. So then when they go in, where have we seen this before, Madame? Laura beams in and says, hey, that's not your mission.
Yeah.
Here's what me and Bob want you to do.
Interesting.
It's find a time cube.
Interesting.
That's your true mission. The 9th time cube they have in Madame. I just made that connection. I just made connection. That's how they got the time cube. That's how they have a time cube. Because, of course, they are successful.
But wait. Who was the girl at the end of the mission? Did we find out who that was?
Tess.
Was that Tess at the end of Madame, who was holding the 9th cube? Who gave us the 9th cube?
No, I think that was Laura.
Was that? No, was it?
Oh, okay. I thought it was a message from Laura. Wasn't it?
Well, they had the picture.
To read the transmission?
Yeah, I think you're right, because there was a digital. It was a picture of a digital girl, and that must have been Laura.
It had to be Laura.
Okay.
But so she has the 9th cube for us.
Right.
And this is how they got it.
Right.
So they're on this mission. Well, when Tess pulls when they finally get to the cube and they get it, that was actually, the cube is what's protecting the city. And so now the wave is crashing in and the city is being destroyed. And they're like, we got to get out of here. We still got a little bit more time, but let's go. By the way, they're meeting another agent. That agent is Ravowski. She's like, you're my dad. He's like, oh, well, I couldn't tell you. I wanted to. Believe me, it wasn't my idea. And she's like, oh, whatever. Blah, blah. You never even told me. Blah, blah, blah. You left us. What's going on? I don't even understand. He's like, hey. He's like, no, it wasn't what you think. It's not what you think. He said, I did love your mother. I did love your mother. She wasn't another test subject or anything like that. He said, but look, he said, we'll talk later and everything. So she's, and by the way, Ravowski, I should say, dies in this. He saves them by staying and fighting a bunch of guards and gets stabbed with a bunch of spears. And she kills the last guard. Then looks at him, he's like, it's too late for me. You need to go. Just want you to know, I do love you. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. I should have, dad-daughter moment.
How sweet.
Yeah, sweet. So they're like, we've got to go. This place is going to flood. We got to get to this place. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. She's like, okay. And so she leaves, and she can't help it. She takes one loving look at him as his hair grows white and long and his skin turns blue.
Blue.
And then that's it. She's gone. Someone drags her out of the thing. She's like, what is going on? What happened to him? So they get back. Of course, everyone's pissed. They said she was supposed to kill the priest. She destroyed the city. And Laura's like, there was some miscalculation. Something went wrong. These were our calculations. When she killed the priest, something happened. Someone still read the thing and destroyed it. We don't know what happened. We're just as shocked as you. Okay. There's an error in our files, is what Laura's saying. So again, they're making excuses. And Bob's going, did you get the cube? Give me the cube real quick. And, stucks it in, real quick to hide him. It was a debriefing room because it was a secret mission, but they're not trusting the agency. So again, this kind of ties into the Time Chronicles where they know there's a spy or there's
something's
infiltration, so they don't want to do it. Well, she tells Bob about what happened to her dad, Ravowski, and say, hey, he got weird looking. She went, oh, he said, Ravowski's a scion. He's the scion.
What?
Which is why Bob doesn't particularly, if we would have gone with the scion, I heard there's a different ending, Bob wouldn't have been as pissed. You're like, what? Because the scions, in some weird way, are helping us, in a way. They have their own weird path, and they don't know what they're doing, but some of the scions do help, which I'm guessing that girl, Lumen Fadai, if we would have picked her over the other guy, she would have helped us too.
The demonish girl.
The demonish girl would have. I mean, obviously, she would have come in handy for a few but at the end, I think she would have helped us too, just like the other guy did.
Huh.
I'm assuming. But either way, he said some are good. Ravowski's good. He's trying to help. Blah blah blah. Well, then she's kind of pissed, and she sits in a room, and then Dr. Rome, who's in the Time Chronicles, comes in to visit her and knocks on her door. He's the mastermind behind this whole thing with her and her mother. He was the one that ordered them to get Marcy because he realized there was something special with her. She survived this. Sir, remember the test formula in the adventure said she was the right match, DNA match.
Right.
So he was like, let's get her. That's why Ravowski, that's why a bunch of heavy hitters were sent for that mission. And he didn't expect Ravowski and Marcy to fall in love, but they did. And he's like, well, I'm okay with that. Well, then they had her. She is half human, half scion.
Wow.
And
so the first.
She can't change into a scion, but she has some abilities like a scion. And he said, let me tell you this, and this is why you probably should read it after Madame. He said, this station, this agency is going to die. We've seen the future. We can't stop it.
Wow.
So basically, you're our only hope to carry on. Okay, and that's basically it. She's the thing to carry on. That's kind of what
they say at the end of Madame.
Yeah.
They say that.
And that's kind of, I guess the Blue stories are just independent stories now. Now the agency's dead. They kind of dropped the whole agency story.
Oh.
And now it's just individual things, but you're technically that new team.
Okay.
Going off to solving other mysteries.
Interesting.
But he's sorry he kept everything from her. Ravowski wanted to tell her from.
Is that why you're thinking? But since they're independent stories, you are thinking that by the time they got to Estrella Drive, that they didn't know how to end it, and so now they don't even try.
Maybe I think so.
Don't try to come up with another big mess story.
I don't think they want too many people with high expectations again.
Maybe.
I'm guessing. But anyway, Tess goes up to Bob at the bar. Bob is drunk, sad drunk. And he said, sit down. She orders him a drink. He went, let me tell you some stories about your dad. That's it.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Overall, I mean, like I said, it had nothing to do with us, but moves into, to give you some meta story.
I like that.
And I didn't hear anything about this. I still haven't seen anything on YouTube about it. And I was like, But then online, I did do some checking. And people are like, screw that book. They've got 200 and something bucks of my money. They ain't getting a book.
Yeah.
Just explain. And I get that.
People are still angry about the ending.
It's $6.99 ebook.
Oh, come on.
So I bought it.
Sure.
And I'll be honest, I might or might not read again. It doesn't. What I wish it would have been, I wish it would have tied in more meta story with us.
Yeah.
And that would have been solid. If you would have given me a book ending and said, look, we're just moving on, but if you want a meta story ending, we hire this author to kind of put, because that's what authors do. They like to tie pieces together. There's a lot of continuity people. You could have gotten someone to write the book and give everyone a fantastic ending. People could have been pissed that you had to buy a book,
right.
But at the same time,
I
would have been happy with a meta story of what happened, what at the base while we were gone and stuff like that. I would have taken something like that. Now, and I was thinking, the Highland File is a missed opportunity to give us more lore. It gave us a little bit. Which I was thankful for.
That's cool.
But in the whole run of things, it did also have its shortcomings. Like I said, it focuses on a different team. It's not us. And who wants to read about something that isn't us? Because we are awesome. But overall, it's a great.
I mean, it's
an enjoyable
it's
story.
like the expanded universe in that way. It's the expanded universe. It may not be talking about the A Team. You may not be talking about Darth Vader, but
That's true.
you still want to know about the people who he interacted with and what happened.
That's true.
To Anakin, and that kind of stuff's always fun to hear things like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting about the Scions and the freaking. I'm surprised.
Rafalski was a Scion.
And that he was a Scion.
That was interesting. And I'm glad they gave him an end. I was like, okay.
That's cool.
Marcy Case is explained a little bit
Yeah.
more. Rafalski's explained.
Right.
There's a wink for Expedition Endurance. Oh, and then they say that Brotherhood of the Coast, they just came back from a mission, and it's Brotherhood of the Coast, the A-Team.
That's cool.
unit, which is how you know where the time story
that's
is.
cool. That's interesting because I remember when we first found out about the Scions and whatever. That was maybe the third expansion.
The third one is where that really impact, because we're told there's Scions have infiltrated the Wizard King or whatever,
yes, and
there are enemies.
That they were the villains.
They're the ones that
and
screw
then
up
we were
time.
like, whoa, we've got a big meta story forming here, or something overall
that's
is
when it started
changing.
coming together.
And then it wasn't until maybe the sixth one that we were like, oh, hang on, maybe they're not the bad guys.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah, and so it develops. So this one gives you a little bit of that.
And what? Oh, if the Scions are kind of helping us, but not, are they fighting against the big Cthulhu dude?
I don't know. I
bet that's what it is.
I wish there would have been more of that.
I want more of that.
You could have told us more of that. And then I
Because-
didn't realize this was a spoiler, but that's how they got the cube, the ninth cube.
What?
I thought they were just talking about the book, about time cubes in the book. And
What do you mean,
giving
from Atlantis?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like
But
that.
I didn't know that was going to tie into the time story because we hadn't played that far in Madame. And then when we played through it, only last night did I realize, I went, oh, the high lymph.
That's cool.
So there's another reason. So I was like, okay,
I like
there's
it.
some subtle hints there. But
That's fun.
it was fun. It was fun. So I wish it had a lot. I was hoping it would have I thought it was going to explain us and deeper than the Time Chronicles.
Yeah, give me more of the stuff that's...
I was like, this is going to be something. But then I saw people saying, I did see bad reviews on it too.
Of the book?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because it doesn't tell you much. And, they're putting the board game in a book perspective and, and...
Yeah, and I could see how that would be tough to translate into a narrative.
Yeah.
Like
so,
that.
but I would have loved more
non-interactive
meta
narrative.
story. But I was happy with it. Like I said, I might not read it again, but
That's
I'm happy
cool.
I did because those were the highlights and those are the good facts. There's a lot of other boring stuff about Tess and her team that they're going through, but the whole time is these are adventures that we weren't a part of. I don't care, or it doesn't help the meta story.
Doesn't help me figure anything out.
It's just another day at the office, just with a different team. But
That's kinda neat.
but again, it's for someone who maybe wants to know the board game in real life. You try to take a board game, you try to put you try to put it in what's it called? Not poem, but what's the word when you put something in words, not pictures? And goodness gracious,
I'm not sure.
brain went prose.
Oh,
That's the
yes.
word I'm looking for. Prose.
Yes.
When you put a board game in prose, which is fine.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I like things like that, and I like to go back, like Star Wars wise. Has there been an EU book written about TK421? Because
No.
I want to know the history of TK421.
Why he wasn't at his
Yeah,
post.
was he chronically late?
Gotcha.
That's all you ever know about TK421. But I've always wondered, I wonder what that guy's deal is.
What that guy's deal
and I would
is.
be interested.
What a missed opportunity.
I mean, not about all, let's say that.
telling
But
you.
I would smile if I found out that some other trooper in some very important moment in Star Wars was TK421.
No,
or
I
something
bet
like
it's
that.
Rafalski. That's what it is.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, man.
TK421's just enjoying his Saturday.
Morning.
Samoflange.